And today on Heartfelt Awakening Radio, we are telling stories of this going through transformational journeys to spirit. And we have a special guest on today. We have on Shlomo Friedman. And, you know, being a businessman for many, many years, and then finally just switched realities to become a philosopher. Tell me, what was that one thing that made you give up being a businessman to go on this journey of switching realities? I want to talk more about that for sure, to become a philosopher. What was that one thing that triggered that?
Okay. No, it's never one thing. But first of all, let me just clarify. I didn't give up business. I never give up anything. I just added another priority. I changed priorities in my life. But to answer your question, you see, I'll give it some background first, okay?
Yes, yes.
So you see, you know, I teach, I post videos on reality transurfing, and one of the topics that I talk about quite a bit is how is reality created? Because when you talk how I switch my reality, let's first see how it's created, then we can understand how I switched it. And you know, this is my point of view, of course. So reality is created by our thoughts. Our thoughts create reality. That's a fact. But yeah, you may ask, okay, so why don't we think about $1 million and just go home and have $1 million? Well, the problem is that we do not control our thoughts. We control them for a minute, like if you ask people that meditate, and then it just goes wherever it likes, right? We don't control our thoughts.
Yep. Thoughts are all over the place. And you know what they're saying is people have a 5 or 6 second attention span.
Yeah, so that's the issue. That's why we cannot choose our reality so easily, right? So the next question is, okay, if we don't control our thoughts, what does? So if you're religious, you probably say God, but you know, that doesn't really solve the problem. So what controls our thoughts is our personality. And I call it our destiny. I mean, I don't mean destiny in the religious or in the philosophical. Destiny to me is your personality, and that's what decides your reality because it controls your thoughts. So if you want to change your reality, or if you don't want it, sometimes it's done for you, like in a near-death experience, right?
Yeah.
That always changes a personality. And this is not something you choose, but yet you get a different reality. There is this famous book, you know, about heaven by this Dr. Alexander, whatever. He talks about how he went through a near-death experience, and out of a scientist and a doctor, he became a lecturer on spirituality and life after death, right? So his personality changed completely, and his reality changed because before he was working as a surgeon, and today he's a lecturer traveling around the world talking about spirituality. So now that we understand that, see what changed for me. I went through a crisis. I went through a near-death experience, but not physical death, but a mental death, because I went through a tremendous crisis in my life, you know, back in 1994, and I came out a different person. And luckily, I realized that I came out a different person because part of me, I guess the higher part, could observe these things and see what's going on. And I actually paid a counselor, to give me an advice how to stay that way because I didn't want to go back to my previous myself. So I went and I saw somebody, and he was very wise. He told me, you know what? If you realize that, you will never go back there. You don't need to do anything. And he was right. So this is what happened, and there is another channel to my story, but I don't know if it fits in here because that's something that people may not like. But I believe that from birth, I was actually supposed to be where I am today, and I have a mission because everything I do. I don't know if you follow my videos and my posts and this healing olive thing, and I'm doing a different project called Drop of Youth. Everything I'm doing, I'm going towards a very, very high goal. which is to change the world. Okay? And this is not just a saying. I actually have a plan. It's not something I said as a saying. It's for real. And remember, I told you that you cannot change what you think about. At the same time, again, this is what I think, you cannot change people. Many tried, different, religious leaders and other people tried to change, they still try to change the world by trying to make the people better. You cannot do that. People don't change. But how you can change the world is by changing what they think about. Okay? And if enough people in the world realize what is this world, what is the purpose of life, for example, that will change the world. And this is what I'm aiming, this is where I'm going.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about that our thoughts are really not controlled. It's controlled by something else. And you talked about the personality. And in the work that I do, I've come across people who have many personalities. And it talks about, an old personality doesn't really serve you anymore, and going through a process of letting that go. And so you went through this healing crisis. Are you able to share more about what this healing crisis was?
Well,
because it sounds like a pivot point in your life. Yeah.
I wouldn't use the word healing because I wasn't sick or anything. I wasn't ill. Healing is not, I think, appropriate for these things. And that, most books that I pick up and it says heal, heal, I throw them away before I even open them because I say, I'm not sick. Why do you want me to heal? So
no, from energy perspective, the sickness is the healing.
No, but anyway, I disagree with the healing, but you want me to be very specific? Yes. I was married, I had a great business, I have still 3 great sons and everything. And one day I woke up and I decided to just get rid of my family. I just felt so much pressure that I just wanted to be on myself. And I started the process and my wife looked at me like, what the hell is going on with you? But at the end of this process, I couldn't stop it anymore. It got its own life. And when I was trying to stop it, it was too late. And then I realized, whoa, I'm going to be divorced and I'm not going to be with my kids. And that put me I was actually considering suicide. Like I was so depressed. And when I came out of that, this is what happened.
Yeah. And you're right, you cannot change people. And I love what you said about changing their thinking. So what happened to you that changed? How did you change your thinking?
Well, I think what happened here is that up to that point, my focus was totally materialistic. It was on money. I bought like the fanciest cars you can imagine, and I bought the nicest house I could get. And, it was all money and just to feel great and secure and famous, I thought that I can buy it with money. And that was my focus. And I basically neglected everything else, and that built up. But I pushed it away, I ignored it, right? But when I got into this crisis, it all came straight into my face. And it either changed me or it brought something very deep that was already there that, I just didn't realize. And this is what happened. I became much more sensitive and I wasn't looking after money anymore. I was looking more after like the emotions were my focus rather than just, how I look or what car I drive, etc., etc. It was a very quick transformation.
So was this a recent happening or did this happen over a period of time?
Well, that happened in 1994.
1994, yes.
Yeah. And, it happened over a time. I would say it happened over probably something like 6 months.
Very good. So today, 1994, that means it's been 25 years, 26 years. Yeah. So in the last 26 years, I'm sure you, like me, you help people. So how do you help people going through this process and understanding their reality and what reality actually means?
Well, you see, there's a very big picture. I don't want to get into it because it's too long, but I'll take something specific just to make the point. Back in 2016, I launched a project called the Healing Olive. Okay, and you know, it's still there. I discontinued that a year ago, but the website is still there with all the comments. And what it was, it's at thehealingolive.com, if anybody wants to look at it. And what it was, I said, I will send this little bottle of oil from Israel here, you know, and anybody that will put their picture for me to look at on my site and put their address, I'll send them a little bottle like that with a letter telling them what I see in their picture, and I guarantee that their life will change. I'll change the reality through that oil if they do what I say. They didn't have to drink it. So, you know, and that, I think that was something that was never done in history of humanity. And it was for free. I decided to absorb the cost, you know, of shipping the whole thing. And I did 400 of those. People from all over the world. There was not one country in the world that there wasn't somebody that received the healing olive. And amazingly, the responses I got, and I got, the plan was that they get it for free, but it's there. How they pay me back is that every month for the next 6 months, they will come in and write what's happening to them. And they did. It's all there, it's all documented. And the responses I got were totally crazy. Like you couldn't believe. You know, science fiction, it doesn't go there. It's more. Like I got 3 or 4 people that got cured of cancer. I got this one lady that wrote to me, said, you know, up until today I couldn't see, and now I don't need glasses anymore. Like,
wow.
It's like, you know, even to me it was like, whoa. Actually, why I told you to look, I just received the letter today. Just this morning I received the letter from somebody by the name of Don, and he was one of my first people that, you know, asked for the healing olive. And that was back in 2016. And he writes to me, I can read you the letter, but I'll tell you quickly. He says, you know, when I used the healing olive, I wrote you, when I reported, I said, it doesn't do anything for me. I'm in depression and I'm, you know, everything is bad in my life, da, 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 da. And he says, you know, I didn't write about that. But he says, I went back to your original letter that you sent me when you read my face that came with the oil. And he says, I read it again, and I realized that you instructed me to do something. I did it, and my life is totally different today.
Wow.
I have a diploma. I changed my life completely, and thank you, and thank you. I just received that letter today by email. So,
very cool.
So you asked me what I do. That was one thing I did, but it was also a selfish thing I did because it was for myself as well. You know, I had a post in Reality Times, I think, when I said, when you do good, you don't really do good for anybody. You do it for yourself. If you want to do good for God, then create change. Because when you do good, you do it for yourself. It makes you feel good. And you know, today I'm doing. You know, I'm.
So are you going to bring back the oil then?
No. I never bring anything back. That was, I said that I'll stop it, but I'm doing a new one. And it's called Drop of Youth.
Is it the same oil?
No, it's no oil anymore. What it is, it's a Drop of Youth, and there will be a website at the beginning of the year called dropofyouth.com. And what it will be again, a little bottle with water, and anybody that will use that water, 1 drop will make them younger. Now that may sound again like science fiction, but we will see. Because when I did the healing olive, people told me you're totally mad, like you should be hospitalized. But it turned out to be different. So this is the same thing, but this is more specific. I'm saying that when you use that water, you will get younger. You will feel younger, you will look younger, and you will be younger. So that's my next project.
Yeah, it might work for some people. So what do you do? Do you
Why do you say for some people?
commands to the
Why do you say for
subconscious?
some people?
For some people, so do you give commands to the subconscious to
No,
open
I'm
up
saying
to
it's going to
that?
work for everybody, not for some people.
It will work for everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, in my video, I'm stating specifically, I'm saying you do not have to believe in miracles for this to work for you. Because usually we say, oh, if you believe in it, it will act like a placebo. No, you don't have to believe in it. It will still work for you.
And if you don't believe in healing, it probably will work for you.
It will still work for you.
Okay. Isn't this a healing?
I told you, don't use the word healing. Nobody is ill. Remember, I told you before we started this interview, I told you I'm controversial. Like certain things, I have my way. Like healing is not something I like to talk about because there is no healing. Everybody is the way they are. This is the reality.
Exactly. And there's nothing to fix, right?
Nothing to fix. You just change reality. So if somebody is ill, okay, you don't heal them. You just change reality and they will go into a reality where they're not ill. And this is what the global health is all about. And this is what the healing olive was all about. It's not to heal people. It's to change the reality.
Yeah. And it takes planting a seed with your words, creating a spell.
Well, that's for a different podcast, how it works. It's not that simple. But I can tell you one thing. In every drop, both in the healing olive and the water here, there is what I call it's vitality. There is no energy. There's nothing physical. It's a spiritual vitality. Okay, there's absolutely nothing physical in it.
Excellent. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. This has been such a pleasure. So Shlomo Friedman, everybody, we're going to have the information where you can find out more about this wonderful project that he's working on if you want to get involved with that, and links to where you can find his YouTube and find his Facebook group as well. So thank you so much, Shlomo Friedman, for being on the show. It has been a joy and a privilege.
Let this coming year be the best year you ever had and the worst one of all the ones that are coming after it.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Okay.
Keep being awesome.
Thank you.